The NBA is as stacked and talented as ever. From top to bottom, skilled scorers, tenacious defenders, and up-and-coming two-way players are making their mark on the league. Let's take a look at the best player on every NBA team right now. Atlanta Hawks, Trae Young. Trae Young is the fourth leading scorer in the NBA, despite the fact that it's only his second year in the league. The 21-year-old averaged a monster 29.6 points per game for the Hawks this season, and it was pretty much solely up to him if Atlanta sank or swam on a nightly basis. The sky's the limit for Young, who's already been an all-star, but the Hawks need to surround him with better talent if Atlanta wants to make the playoffs anytime soon. Boston Celtics, Jason Tatum. There may not be a more exciting young player in the NBA right now than Jason Tatum, who already has an all-star appearance to his name and led the Celtics in scoring at 23.6 points per game this year. Boston is a loaded team top to bottom, with Jaylen Brown and Kemba Walker giving the Celtics a ton of firepower, but Tatum is who his teammates look to at the end of games. At 6'8" with a quick first step and a silky smooth offensive game, Tatum is on track to be one of the best wings in the league very soon. Brooklyn Nets, Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is arguably the best scorer of his generation and maybe the most skilled NBA bucket getter ever. He's unstoppable when he's isolated on the wing, and at 6'10", unguardable when he gets the ball in the post. Durant and the 26 points per game that he averaged last season in Golden State traveled across the country when he signed with the Nets last summer, and to help him out, Brooklyn also brought in Kyrie Irving. But make no mistake, KD is the Nets' heart and soul. Charlotte Hornets, Devontae Graham. After averaging under 15 minutes per game last year, Devontae Graham came out of nowhere to become the Hornets' starting point guard and their best player this season. He averaged 18.2 points per game and ran the Hornets so flawlessly that he even supplanted Terry Rozier, Charlotte's high-prized free agent from a couple seasons ago at point guard. At just 25 years old, he's just getting started too. Chicago Bulls, Zach LaVine. On a Bulls team that's been one of the NBA's worst over the last couple of years, Zach LaVine is one of Chicago's few slivers of hope. LaVine does it all for Chicago. He leads them in scoring at 25.5 points per game, and most of the time is the Bulls' only reliable offensive option. The Bulls front office has surrounded LaVine with a little talent, so it's usually up to him on a nightly basis to get the job done. Cleveland Cavaliers, Andre Drummond. The Cavs acquired Andre Drummond just this season, and when he got to Cleveland, Drummond probably looked around and didn't see much top-tier talent. Yes, the Cavs have Kevin Love, but he's getting up there in age. Drummond has led the league in rebounding 4 different seasons and averaged 17.5 points and 11.1 rebounds for the Cavs this year. Cleveland's rebuilding plan is firmly centered around Drummond, who still has a case as the best rebounder in the league. Dallas Mavericks, Luka Doncic. From the moment Luka Doncic entered the NBA, he was instantly the Mavs' best player and one of the best scorers in the league. Doncic averaged 28.7 points per game this year, made the All-Star team in just his second season, and for most of the year was firmly in the MVP race. Pencil him into the All-Star game for years, and because of the Slovenian scoring machine, Dallas has one of the brighter futures in the league. Denver Nuggets, Nikola Jokic. The Nuggets didn't know what they were getting when they selected Nikola Jokic in the second round in 2014, but boy, were they happy when he arrived in Denver. Over the last 5 seasons, Jokic has cemented himself as the Nuggets' best player and fulcrum of their highly efficient offensive attack. Jokic has led the Nuggets in points, rebounds, and assists over the last 3 seasons and racked up 13 triple-doubles this year, the 3rd most in the league. Not bad for a second-round pick. Detroit Pistons, Derrick Rose. After Detroit moved on from Andre Drummond, and with Blake Griffin injured for most of the year, the Pistons became Derrick Rose's team. The former MVP had a bit of a career resurgence in the Motor City. Rose averaged 18.1 points per game this year, his most since 2012, and for a second consecutive year, stayed pretty healthy. Golden State Warriors, Stephen Curry. Steph Curry is on the other side of 30, but doesn't look to be slowing down anytime soon. He's averaged 27.3 points per game last year, and the sweet stroke of his three-point shot looks as smooth as ever. Golden State had a down year due to injuries to Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green, but around those 3, expect the Warriors to bounce back next year. Houston Rockets, James Harden. If you look up the word bucket getter in the dictionary, you'd find a picture of James Harden. The Beard averaged 34.4 points per game this year and led the league in scoring for a third straight season. Russell Westbrook gave him a top-notch sidekick in Houston this year, but Harden still did most of the heavy lifting. The Rockets' system of style of play is centered around Harden's scoring and ability to draw fouls, and that's not changing anytime soon. Indiana Pacers, Domantas Sabonis. Domantas Sabonis does a little bit of everything for the Pacers. He scores efficiently and averaged 18.5 points per game this year. He's a beast on the glass and pulled down 12.4 rebounds per game. Sabonis has great vision too and averaged 5 assists per game this year. TJ Warren and Victor Oladipo provide a much-needed scoring punch for Indiana, but the Pacers live and die by how well Sabonis plays. Los Angeles Clippers, Kawhi Leonard. The 2019 Finals MVP is up to his old tricks in Los Angeles. Leonard averaged 26.9 points per game this year and is still the best perimeter defender in the league. He's got a lot of help behind him too, mainly from Paul George and a deep Clippers bench. Leonard isn't just the best player on the Clippers, he's arguably the best player in the entire NBA. Los Angeles Lakers, LeBron James. It's crazy that after 11 seasons in the league and at 35 years old, LeBron James still dominates like he does. James averaged 25.7 points per game for the Lakers this year, but didn't have to carry as big of an offensive load as he has in the past now that Anthony Davis is in the yellow and purple. Still, this is LeBron's team, and James can still fill up the box score. This season, he averaged 10.2 assists per game, the most in the entire NBA. Memphis Grizzlies, Ja Morant. He's just a rookie, but Ja Morant is already the man in Memphis. Morant averaged 17.6 points and 6.9 assists in his rookie year and did most of the heavy lifting for the Grizzlies. Morant will team with big man Jaren Jackson Jr. to form an inside-outside combination that could wreak havoc on the league for years to come. Miami Heat, Jimmy Butler. When Jimmy Butler isn't knocking down jumpers, he's piling up points at the charity stripe, where Butler attempted the 4th most free throws in the league this season. He's a dominant scorer. However, where Butler really earns his paycheck is on the defensive end of the floor, where he routinely locks up the opposing team's best scorer. Bam Adebayo could give Butler a run for the Heat's best player down the line, but for now, it's still Butler's team. Milwaukee Bucks, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis Antetokounmpo was the league's reigning MVP, and this year, the Greek Freak somehow upped his averages across the board. Giannis is averaging 29.6 points and 13.7 rebounds per game this season and could win Defensive Player of the Year to go with another MVP. He's a beast on both ends of the floor and on track to go down as one of the best players in NBA history. He's dominating the league again this year. Minnesota Timberwolves, Karl Anthony Towns. Ever since the Timberwolves made Karl Anthony Towns the #1 overall pick in 2015, he's been Minnesota's best player. And even with the addition of D'Angelo Russell, that doesn't appear to be changing anytime soon. Towns is only getting better too. At just 24 years old, he's averaged the career-high 26.5 points per game this season. New Orleans Pelicans, Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram's reign as the Pelicans' best player may be short-lived because Zion Williamson is on his tail and could supplant him as soon as next year. But for now, the Pelicans are Ingram's team. Ingram led the Pelicans in scoring at 24.3 points per game this year, a monster jump from the 18.3 he averaged a season ago. New York Knicks, Julius Randle. He didn't get a lot of publicity playing for the lowly Knicks, but Julius Randle averaged a strong 19.5 points to go with 9.7 rebounds per game this year. Randle is a bulldozer on the block and a terror in transition, but he has little help on the Knicks. Rookie R.J. Barrett, who entered the league as a naturally gifted scorer, could give Randle a run for his money as the Knicks' best player in a year or two. Oklahoma City Thunder, Chris Paul. Father time hasn't come yet for Chris Paul, who averaged 17.7 points and 6.8 rebounds per game this season for the Thunder. At the age of 35, Paul is still an all-star caliber point guard who can shoot it from three and is one of the best defenders at his position in the league, like he's been for most of his career. The Thunder were supposed to miss the playoffs this year, but exceeded all expectations, mostly due to Paul's brilliant play. Orlando Magic, Nikola Vucevic. Nikola Vucevic is one of the most underrated players in the league, mostly because he plays in Orlando. Vucevic averaged 19.5 points per game for the Magic this season and made the All-Star team in 2019. He's one of the better scorers on the block in the league and a very consistent offensive option. Philadelphia 76ers, Joel Embiid. No one is better on the block than Joel Embiid, who averaged 23.4 points and 11.8 rebounds for the 76ers this season. Embiid is also one of the best defenders in the league and always strikes fear into opponents when they venture into the paint where Embiid is patrolling. Embiid's the main reason why Philadelphia has been a playoff team each of the last few seasons, but don't knock Ben Simmons' contributions either. Like Embiid, he's an all-star and top-notch defender too. Phoenix Suns, Devin Booker. Devin Booker's scoring hasn't translated into a ton of wins for the Suns over the last few years, but he's still Phoenix's best player. Booker averaged 26.1 points this season, the 10th most in the league, and unfortunately didn't have much help around him. Aside from his scoring, Booker has also shown growth as a passer and playmaker with the Suns, which is much needed due to Phoenix's lack of firepower. Portland Trail Blazers, Damian Lillard. At 28.9 points per game, Lillard led the Trailblazers in scoring this season and was the 5th best scorer in the entire NBA. He is one of the most clutch players in the league and just last season ended the Thunder season with a series-clinching three-pointer in the first round of the playoffs. Lillard and CJ McCollum form one of the best backcourts in the league in Portland, but everyone knows that Portland's offense flows through Lillard. Sacramento Kings, De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox was what seemed like the Kings' first good draft pick in years and quickly cemented himself as the franchise's best player. He's one of the most exciting up-and-coming point guards in the league, and you could argue that he's the fastest player in the NBA too. In just his 3rd season, Fox is already a 20-point scorer and averaged 20.4 points per game this year. San Antonio Spurs, DeMar DeRozan. If you want consistency, DeMar DeRozan is your man. DeRozan averaged 22.2 points per game this season, his 7th consecutive year averaging at least 20 points per game. But DeRozan does more than just score. He's also averaged 5.6 rebounds and 5.6 assists per game this year. Toronto Raptors, Pascal Siakam. The Raptors needed someone to replace Kawhi Leonard, and up stepped Pascal Siakam. Siakam averaged 23.6 points and 7.5 rebounds per game and is the exact type of forward who can play both ends of the floor that Toronto can build around. Siakam made his first of what's sure to be many all-star teams this season. Utah Jazz, Donovan Mitchell. As soon as Donovan Mitchell came into the league, he was able to score. Mitchell was a 20-plus point per game scorer as a rookie, and this year poured in 24.2 points per contest. But he does a lot more than that for Utah. Mitchell also averaged 4.4 rebounds and 4.2 assists per game. Rudy Gobert is one of the NBA's top defenders and has a case as Utah's best player, but Mitchell does more to help the Jazz win. Washington Wizards, Bradley Beal. Did someone do something to piss Bradley Beal off this season? Beal played with an incredible edge over the second half of the year and averaged a career-high 30.5 points per game, the 2nd most in the league. Maybe it was the fact that Beal got snubbed from the All-Star game. Whatever it was, Beal really took hold of the Wizards' scoring reins after Washington lost John Wall to a torn Achilles, which his team desperately needed him to.